Hey everybody, Howard here. Let me start off by apologizing for not doing any videos for the last few weeks. I understand, reading the comments. Yeah, and I always read the comments. People are concerned about me. I was answering most of the comments, but I sort of fell behind on that because I just haven't been on the computer and on YouTube much. A little bit, but not as much as normal. I appreciate that people are concerned about me and want to get an update. And again, 3 weeks is too long to leave you hanging. I saw a video today that someone pointed out to me where they were talking about I was possibly dead. So, and I can understand that. Someone having heart, problems and typically puts on two videos and suddenly doesn't show up. Yeah, I can understand. You might think I'm dead. Um, Eventually that will happen and I won't show up. So I get it. So here's what's going on. It has been a rough few weeks. Almost either daily or every other day, I'm showing symptoms of heart problems, whether it's stabbing pains in the heart, um, lightheadedness, dizziness, nausea, rapid heartbeat, high blood pressure, whatever it is, all together, all at once. It'll hit me, and I feel like I'm dying, and then I just try to make it through the day. I'm having shortness of breath. Just very uncomfortable. Haven't been motivated to do much else other than just sit on the couch and try to stay alive. Um, so this last week, Monday or Tuesday, I think I was back at the cardiologist. I saw the head guy who owns the practice, really experienced. I mean, this guy just incredible how he knows his stuff. And he was concerned that I'm still showing so many symptoms. So he sent me back into the hospital, not the same one, still Advent Health, but up in Tampa because they have much more sophisticated facilities. It's a 650 bed hospital, something like that. It's huge. Um, and if they needed to do more work than just a cath lab, they were able to move me into an operating room right away. And he thought it was urgent enough that Tuesday he sent me right to the hospital. And then Wednesday morning, I went to the cath lab. They, looked up into my stents because the worry was, especially in the first 2 months, that you get blood clots or something happens to the stents where they're blocked. You're not getting good blood flow. Turns out I am getting good blood flow, which is a good thing. On one hand, it's a good thing because that's the last thing you want. On the other hand, it meant we haven't figured out what's causing the problems. I talked to an electrophysiologist who studies the electrical waves through your heart and how the heart's working based upon that. I have all the tests, the EKGs and the echoes and all that. Um, those are showing okay. I have what's called PCAs, which are premature cardiac. No, I forget. I knew I'd screw it up as soon as I tried it. Premature something. Yeah. Okay, anyway, my heart's not beating right. Um, I have what's called a wide QRS. That's not terribly important for most people, but if you have heart problems, I guess it is. Um, so here's what the thinking is now that most of the problems, if not all of them, are coming from my medications. I still have heart pain or chest pain, little stabbing pains in the heart. That could be because the heart's kind of injured from what all it's gone through. Um, but it turns out I was having hypoglycemia, which is just an awful feeling. And for those of you who have diabetes and go through that, I don't know how to envy you. I think I'm dying when it happens. For anyone that ever had that feeling of low blood sugar, oh, I got to eat. This happens like that, and you just sink. It just gets worse, 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 worse in like 3 seconds, and you're like wiped out, and you think you're passing out. Dizziness, lightheadedness, rapid heartbeat, all the stuff that comes with it, and you think you're dying. Turns out that's probably a medication. That I quit taking Jardiance. They said the benefits of it don't compensate for the risk, so let's stop taking that for now. So that has stopped. I still have the other symptoms. Um, we pretty much, the shortness of breath we think is from the Berlinta, but the Berlinta is really good at blocking blood clots. So for the first 2 months, they want me to stay on Berlinta, so I got a couple more weeks on that, and then I'm switching over to Pavlik's. Plavix, probably whatever it is. That doesn't have quite the side effects. It works a little bit differently, and it has its own risks. But Pavlix. I don't know. I'll think of it as soon as I'm done here. Pavlix. Okay. So we'll change that. They took me off the beta blocker because my heart rate was getting too low. During my cath lab procedure, it was down in the 30s, and that kind of scared them. So we're switching to a different beta blocker that sort of takes you up and down. It sort of self-regulates itself, supposedly. Something called Pinlalol or something. I'll see that by tomorrow, I hope. My light just went out again because for 3 weeks I haven't charged it. Uh, anyway, and the electrophysiologist came up with the idea of, maybe when you're exercising, this is happening because number one, you're dehydrated, number two, your electrolytes are low. So, he said a simple thing, just load up on Gatorade before you work out. It's like dumb, simple thing. Um, and make sure you're more well hydrated too. And I have been working out on days I feel okay. I can walk for 20, 30 minutes. I'll throw in some jogs at 7.5, 8 miles an hour. And then I just have to make sure my heart rate comes down quickly, which is a sign that it's working correctly. It'll get high, but it needs to come down. Doing weights, but I'm not even up to half the weights I normally use. So I'm doing that. I'm doing the stuff. Nothing's changed yet, though. Um, until we change those medications, I could, right now, the same thing could happen to me just sitting here. I've had a day and a half where nothing's happened, So anyway, I'm back. I don't know how often I'll get on here. I wanted to do my year-end update, where my finances are, where my investments are, how well I did last year versus the market averages, and I'll try to put that up sometime this week, as long as nothing goes wrong. I want to get back to running and sprinting and playing softball. Haven't played softball in 6 weeks. Yeah, haven't thrown a ball, swung a bat, so I gotta do that, but I gotta build up to that, obviously. So again, thanks for supporting me. Apologize for not getting back to you guys sooner. I heard someone's YouTube video saying I was dead, so I thought I gotta get back on here and show that I'm at least alive, if not flourishing, but we'll get back to that. So thanks again. I'll talk to you later.